Hi, thanks for checking out our channel. What we're going to do in this video is, this is a Gallagher S20 old style unit. This is comparable to the this is the same type of setup as the S50 Gallagher that they used to make. But this has a couple different problems with it. It had a bad board in it, so we repaired the board. And it's also got a bunch of, had corrosion on the plug here. So, and also one of the tabs in there, this is an older version. You see the plugs on them are kind of a see-through, kind of translucent plastic, and the holes are really big on them. And they stopped using these type of plugs, this version of it, back like 2008 or 9. And they came out with these new ones. They're white, solid white, and got smaller holes. So if this was still in good shape, we would just left it alone. But this has got corrosion down inside there. One of the little tabs inside there, that one on the left is all flat. And the one on the right is a little bit flat too. They're kind of spring loaded in there. So it's worn flat. We did put another wire on there to start with, and it still wouldn't work right. What we ended up doing, I didn't show this part in the video, but we took a this part of the board. Oops. This part of the board is from the original board, and this board here is from another junk board. So this board that was attached to this one originally was bad. So and the original board here it is. Here's the original board. See all this corrosion all over the place on it. So it's basically like that, and we stole this piece off of this board and put it on this board. And this board was is now functioning as the S20 now. So now this board works. So kind of piecemeal things together, save the guys some money on repairs. So now everything's going good for them. But now we've got to replace this wire harness inside this unit. So not very common to go bad anymore. They had a lot of trouble with them back in 2007, 8, 9, 6, no, between 2005 and 2008 when this version of plug was around. The reason why they went to this was it is a better quality metal on the inside, because over time these would get hot. The metal was not the best metal, I guess, wasn't handling the current coming through it, and they would just weaken the metal and they would lay flat, and the thing wouldn't turn on. It's because then you pull this plug off there, and one of those contacts, and they would be laying flat. So they went back to the drawing board to figure out what's going on here, why he's having this kind of problem, and they came out with this little plug, this version of it. It's a whole wire harness, but it came out with this version of it, and they haven't had any problems since. That was back in like 2008. So anything S20 wise, this model, this variation from like 2008 and on, 2009 and on, maybe probably 2008 and on, have that style on there. So when you buy a new wire harness, it's going to look like this, and it comes, you can't buy just this little plug, you got to buy the whole wire harness. Not very expensive, but they have to buy the whole thing. But that's what we're going to get into. We're going to show you how to do this. I've already pulled the unit apart on the board part. We've got to get this plastic thing off. You just kind of lift up straight up and wiggle and pull, and this comes right off. And you can see this thing's pretty dirty, so we'll clean it when we're all done. But we pull this solar panel off. Got to pull these two screws out the top. Pull that little guide there. Hold onto the screws. Solar panel kind of wiggles and pulls out. Solar panels don't go bad very often. Occasionally they'll pop off the back here on where they're attached to the back of the panel. Pull it out of here, and there's these two little blue things that the positive and negative plug into. There's like little spade connectors, little metal spades. So pull them out, and be careful. The solar panel is glass, so you don't want to drop it and break it. And we're just gonna wiggle, pull this out. You need to pull on that pretty hard. It's your battery part of the wire. And then you got to detach it from these two bolts here. You need a channel lock, works fine. They're not super tight, so just need to grab them, turn them a couple times, and then they'll loosen right up. Sometimes those bolts will pop out like that. You just kind of push them back in, little lock washer type thing there. That's the old wire harness. All this stuff right here is the old wire harness. So I'll probably keep it for some of the wiring, but this plug's no good, so it's not really of any use to me, but we'll do something with that maybe, or we'll just toss the whole thing. So now we're going to take a pair of snips and cut this twist tie off. And you kind of spread it all apart. And then there's your fencing ground leads up, spread them apart. And then there's your, this is what goes, these are the leads that plug on your board. The battery wire and your fencing ground wire. So the first thing this is how I put it together, is I put the battery leads in first. And you got this piece right here, has a little like a two-sided thing. It's got this little notch right here is what goes between the plastic on both sides, and then you have to pull this thing. It has a little catch on it all the way around, so it can't be pulled back out easily. So they're kind of a pain to put in because you got to pull hard. Open up the back of your unit and grab it from inside here and kind of look at it, get it squared up, you know, where its circles are all matched up, and pull like your life depended on it. And then pull, you'll hear it snap and come in like that one did. Put that back on. These things fell off. And then thread these back in, put this one in first, and a little hole there. Come on. There we go. And then feed these around. See, this is the longer one goes over here. The shorter one goes right here. You got these these little notches right here and right here. My fingers are. That's so when you tighten the nut up on here, it doesn't allow this thing to twist on you when you put it on. So put that there. And hold the knob on the back side. Hold it with your hand so it keeps that bolt pushed in as you're tightening it. And I always put everything underneath, so these are on this side of it. You have these little notches right here. You can kind of feed it in there if you want. Your notch right there as well. They're kind of like guides. And then you can push that right there, and then push it and keep it on this side, this edge. The solar panel rests up against it. If this is right there, solar panel's going to smash into it. Alright, those channel locks again, and we'll just smaller pair. Kind of overkill. Where's my small ones at? Just make them snug. Don't have to be torqued to any certain specs. Just make it snug. All right, now we're just down to this. Move this up. Move this red one up to the top notch. There's two notches there. Move it up to there, and this one's going to go right there. All right. So then The red wire is longer than the black wire, so I put the red wire on the left side. This red wire is longer, so it's going to reach across there. So now when you're plugging these things in, it's not very hard to do. Just kind of push them in there. You might take a pair of needle nose, grab it right here, push it in all the way. The key thing when you get to this point, shortly after, is make sure that these two little metal ends do not touch each other when you put it down in here, because these are electrically tied into this battery wire as well. So if these touch, it's basically taking a wire and putting it across your battery, and this thing will start smoking, and all the wires will start melting. I've had it happen to myself once. Not got in a hurry or whatever, or something happened, I don't know. So just be careful of that. So you got kind of two little slots here, or actually three, 1, 2, and 3, and these little guides in there, so you can kind of push your wires in there behind those guides to kind of help hold this wire down inside here. I'll take this one, push it down inside there, and what I do is I just leave like the black wire on top, like up in this little area, and the red one, keep it down this area. And just push them into those little slots there. Once you do that, it ain't gonna go anywhere. It's not gonna touch each other. And maybe bring these up and over and around behind the panel. I think I might do to just keep those wires in place, these wires from moving around too much, take a little bit of tape. Just tape them down. Get that centered up, centered inside this piece, so just kind of get it equal on both sides. And then we'll take, actually we're going to clean it real quick. I need something to wipe it with. Oh, there's a rag right here. All right, now we'll take this. And we'll take the screwdriver. And then before I put this plastic piece back on, I'm going to go and clean it too. Doesn't, I mean, it's just dirt, ain't gonna hurt. Not gonna hurt anything. We'll go ahead and clean the side of the solar panel lens cover, what do they call this thing? I got to take my circuit board and circuit board back in its little place here. Oops, backwards, stupid. Well, there's a little screw that goes right here. Where the hell did I put it at? A little Phillips screw that goes right there. Got a big thing of screws here. I think that's the right one right there. I keep everything. I don't throw much away. You know, you never know when you got one little piece or part, or you drop one and you're like, God dang it, where did I get another one from? This is an older style. The older style had the newer style had a little screw hole right here to hold this board in place, but the older ones didn't. Now there's a plug your wires in. So this is your battery wire, plugs in right there. You get your fence and earth wires. It's labeled earth and fence, or ground, which earth is ground. So black is your ground or earth, so it plugs on right here. The red your fence, plugs in right here. And you got this little tab right here. It goes underneath this section, goes right dead center, right, so it slips up underneath there. Another thing you want to do is you want to make sure your wires are out of the way of these two screw holes right here. So you put them up above, down below, whatever you want to do. Squeeze hard and it should snap right in there. Now we'll put this back on. This clear lens, there's two little ears here, one here and one there. Also, that solar panel wire harness is the same on the solar panel wire. The whole wire harness for this thing is same on the S50 and the S20. So it fits both units. Because of dust and crap falling on the table. Hey, Rodney! Oh, shit. They blew it right up. Alright, this one's basically done now. We already fixed the board earlier, so I've got videos on YouTube how to do that. I'll show you how to take it apart, so if you haven't seen that video, just search Gallagher S50 repair or Gallagher S20 repair. I've got 2 or 3 videos that show you how to do that. So we're going to hook up a power supply to it. Set it to 12.8 volts. That's good enough. Flip the switch on. And it doesn't show it flashing on the video, but it is. We're going to turn it off for a second, take the knobs off the back. We will hook up the analog fence tester. Turn it back on. Almost 7,000 volts out of it based on this little tester. So now this thing's raring to go back to work. So there's no battery in it, so I guess they kept the battery with them. Now, if you're ever curious how to check your solar panel, know if it's working. Solar panels don't go bad very often. These things are pretty good solar panels. If you can do it on this variation, you can do it in the room as long as it's well lit. But bigger units, bigger solar panels, you can't do it in the room. You got to take them outside. The light in the room is not enough to make the panel read right. It'll read too low, you'll think it's bad. But get a voltmeter, put it on DC volts, have the unit turned off, battery disconnected. You're going to test right across these. And this is a 12 volt unit, so this unit puts out about 14 volts. See, 13.97, so we're up for 14, so you know the solar panel's good. So if you got a pretty dark room, you know, then you know, okay, the panels are reading like 10. You know, you might take it outside. If it goes up to 14, you know, hey, you're fine. If it reads, you know, 13 and not a well lit room, then probably all right. But 14 is usually right where those things read at on this unit here. So now we're just going to put these down in here. They didn't send the battery because the battery was probably fine. Put that little rubbery piece here, little pad. It's there to kind of help when you close the lid on it. It's there to help hold the battery in place. And this particular unit is a 2005 model. If you look at the serial number there, hard to do it one-handed, but two-handed. 05, get out of there, fly, or whatever you are. 0550. It's built 50th week of 2005. The first two is your year. Third and fourth number is the week of that year. So this built in the 50th week of 2005. So right near the end of 2005 this was built, so it's probably sold in 2006. So a 14-year-old unit, and it had the original board. And the board is 0549. So the board was built the 49th week of 2005. So they build the boards first, then they make the casings for the unit, then they install the board, and then when they finish building the board or putting the board in the unit, then that's when they put the date on the unit itself. So the boards are always a little bit older by a week or two or whatever compared to the actual unit itself. But that the original board probably still be working if water hadn't gotten in there, but some kind of moisture had gotten in it. And what we're going to do, I notice this case is a little bit warped. They don't get hot, but we'll probably run a tape across here to kind of help keep moisture out of it. If we ever have to get back into it, take a knife and slit it across. So these things don't get hot, so you don't have to worry about overheating or anything like that. But this unit's all done. Raring to go back to customer and go back to work. So hopefully this helped you out. If you got any questions or need to order some parts, we can help you out there on this brand. We do repairs on all these different ones out there. All of our information is in the description area, but there's our website and at two sites, fencerfixer.com and cattlescalerepair.com. But so you can get a hold of us anytime. We have free quotes and 18-month warranties and everything that we work on repair-wise. So until next time, see you later.